I want people who are really driven, right? So when I'm interviewing someone, I want to see I want to see someone who wants to succeed, who wants to achieve, who's driven to do things and to to really make their mark, as opposed to someone who's just looking for the next step or looking for a job. I'm a sportsman. I was a sportsman growing up. I was a footballer, so I've been around sport all my life, as far as I can as far as I can remember, probably from sort of 3 years old. And yes, I started out in banking, which was great. It was great grounding in business, but ultimately, at a pretty early on in my career, I realized that sport is where my passion is. It's what I love, and I think it's important that you apply what you're good at if you can, in an industry that you're passionate about. So, and I felt at the time I found out about the MBA program at Liverpool, and I felt it was an ideal place for me to learn about the industry first, and also for me to meet people who are already in the industry that could potentially help me build a career. So, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I was in the U.S. and I had no other way of pursuing a career at the time, which I wanted to do in Europe. So it's as important as as the master as the degree for me. I mean, I always thought that it's the expectation that you will get the degree because you're already here and you're investing in that. But so is everyone else. Everyone else in that room is doing the same thing. So what will separate you and will give you the advantage is your ability to network. Because you're meeting people who potentially either earlier or further down the road can help you. You're learning a lot. You are exposing yourself to people in the industry. So that to me is a critical component. It's been fundamental to my own journey that I've had over the last almost 20 years. I've enjoyed it. I think there are so many similarities between sport and business. I mean, to be successful in sport, you have to be committed, right? So it's the time that you're putting in. You have to be a good team player, right? You have to be driven. You have to want to succeed, right? So, and I think a lot of those things are you'll find found in the boardroom or in sport. Want people who are driven, who want to achieve, who are collaborative, who are good team players, who can lead at the same time, who can follow at times. So I think there's so many parallels from being part of a team environment, part of being a sportsman. I was going to say for some individual sports, and I've worked with many athletes, and I felt they brought a lot of that to the team, which was fantastic. I think what you find in the U.S. is that the business is much more. It's perhaps a bit more developed. I think when it comes to professional sport and particularly marketing and sports marketing, they're a bit farther ahead. So that's interesting. Perhaps the nature of how people work is a bit more direct in the U.S. They're very commercially driven. So there's no hiding place really in the U.S. It's a very results-driven industry. It's very competitive. They've been doing it a long time. So I think if you want to succeed in the U.S., you really have to you really have to bring your A game. In terms of skills, I'm looking for really good team players, right? Because I want to work with people who are good in team environments. Right? I don't want to have issues. I want people who can collaborate, who can work with different types of personalities. That's really important, right? Because typically you'll be going into different size teams, and you need someone who can operate comfortably in that environment. But that aside, the most important thing for me is the drive, the energy and the curiosity. I want people who are really driven. Right. So when I'm interviewing someone, I want to see someone who wants to succeed, who wants to achieve, who's driven to do things and to really make their mark, as opposed to someone who's just looking for the next step or looking for a job. So the reason being is because I want to be surrounded by people like that, because I feel if someone is driven and they want to achieve, they'll get other people to perform better as well. So I want to create that kind of environment, and curiosity is fundamental to succeeding in the industry where everything's evolving so quickly, I want people who are curious, who are interested, who don't just want to stay in their lane and do one thing. I want them to be interested in everything that shapes the industry. So those are the kinds of things that, again, when I'm building a team, I want to be surrounded by people like that, because I'll benefit from that as well, and I know people in the team will benefit from that as well. So that would be my advice for anyone who's looking for a job, is to come across as someone who really wants to come in and really make their mark, and someone who can operate in any kind of environment and do so without any issues, really.